5'11", 147 1/4. He has a record of 7-3-1. 3 of those 7 knockouts have come by way of knockout. He says tonight he wants to be smart, he wants to stay safe, but at times he knows he needs to be more aggressive. And he stands opposite Fontaine Cabell, 6'1" welterweight, originally from Teddy's home of Staten Island, but he has been living and training in Orlando for the majority of his pro career that started all the way back in 1993. So he's had a long run of it, but his career has been interrupted by a few layoffs. He blames managerial issues for those layoffs. Marco Lopez is your referee. It's scheduled for 10.
Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourselves at all times. Above the waist, above the waist. Let's touch him up.
There is Fontaine Cabell. Told you he's originally from Staten Island. Teddy, when I visited with him before the fight in the locker room, I said, well, how did things go in Staten Island growing up? He said, great. I idolized Hector Camacho. I got started in boxing, and my dad's doctor was Teddy Atlas Sr.
Well, he had a good doctor.
He did indeed.
Not because he was my father, because I just happen to know how he took care of people. And that's nice of him to say. Right now, Cabell, as you alluded to, Joe, dealing with a lot of inactivity. 1 year and 9 months since the last time he was in the ring. And 4 fights before that was off for 3 years. A lot of inactivity in Cabell's career so far. Both of them are coming off losing streaks, Joe. Cabell lost 4 of his last 5. Cuevas lost 2 of his last 3.
See Cabell trying to go to the jab early on, and then Cuevas triples it up and misses with a right hand. Cuevas in the black with the silver trim going down the middle. Cabell in the silver with the blue trim.
Cabell has lost whenever he stepped up to maybe I'd say a B- level. But the question here is, what level is Cuevas? We're going to find out. Accumulated most of his wins in the South did Cabell. We know that sometimes you can maneuver a little bit with the commission down there.
Yeah, had a lot of fights in North Carolina and South Carolina and ventured into Florida a bit. He was unbeaten up until his 19th pro fight. He says, hey, listen, I was a young kid. I was cocky. I was arrogant. I was the type of kid that built up a record and felt like I didn't have to train. He really learned a lesson in his last 8 fights. He's been 2-5-1. Wide right hand, misses badly, and Cabell tries to come back with a right hand of his own, shoots off the uppercut on the inside.
Cuevas has been a bigger man. We'll see whether or not he can use that and that can translate into strength. He's been a welterweight most of his career, while Cabell turned pro as a lightweight, only moved up to welterweight in his last 10 fights.
And of course, many layoffs, and I'm sure the weight gain had something to do with that. Actually went over to Denmark and fought titleist Thomas Damgaard back in 2000. He was knocked out in that fight and then took 3 years off before he came back against Robert Kamya, a fighter we've seen a few times, lost a decision there. And most recently, back in July of 2004, he was stopped in the first round by Ahmed Kaddour, who was the outspoken brash fighter from the Contender Series Season 1.
Important for Cabell, the taller man, the longer man, to try to start establishing that height, that advantage. And that would start with the old-fashioned jab and start throwing it at the right distance. That time he threw the jab, but he fell in, gave up that distance.
Right hand digs to the body. Combination does not land following it up. Fires off the uppercut again with the right hand.
Well, Cabell is choosing the right uppercut right now. Not a bad choice, being that he's got a shorter man in Cuevas who's forcing his way in, crouching a little bit. That uppercut can be effective.
Cuevas and Cabell starting off what should be an outstanding Wednesday night fights. here at the Palm Beach County Convention Center. Wednesday Night Fights, glad to be with you. Kermit Cintrone, David Estrada, coming up a much anticipated 12-round welterweight clash. 10 rounds of welterweight action in front of us here. Max Cuevas in the black and silver, taking on the 6'1" Fontaine Cabell. Cabell able to land his punches effectively in that first round, 28 of 84. Cuevas was 16 of 36.
For a man who's been knocked out in his last 2 fights, that man being Cabell, he's come out here in control of himself and in control of the fight pretty well.
Those last 2 fights you talk about spread out over almost 3 years at this point. So a lot of growing up maybe in between those fights.
That's a good point, Joe. A lot of soul searching, a lot of growing outside the gym. Mentally understanding what he needs to do, what he didn't do before.
Fired off that jab there and then went to the right uppercut again, a weapon of choice against the shorter Max Cuevas. And now inside, tying up that left hand.
Again, it's up to Cabell, the taller man, in the white trunks with the blue, to try to make Cuevas pay a price for getting in, because you can see Cuevas, the shorter man, getting a little reckless trying to close those gaps.
Able to use some movement to close the gap that time. Goes to the body and then doubles up the left hand before Cabell fires off a left of his own.
When Cuevas wants to be in close, Cabell should want to be on the outside. The trick for Cuevas to get in there safely. Now he's in there. Now the trick is not to do that. Not to cooperate with clinches, but to do that, to work. If you're the shorter man Cuevas, you want to go upstairs, downstairs.
Went downstairs effectively with a left hand right on the belt line. On the inside now, they trade left hands.
See, this is going to be a danger zone for the taller man Cabell, because once the shorter man gets in close, then being tall is a disadvantage because there's a lot of target. Especially if you force the taller man out. I think it would be a good idea right in these spots before the referee breaks it for Cuevas to try to force Cabell back. Then have a lot of target to catch him on the way out.
There's that jab. Cuevas still makes his way to the inside as Cabell tries to back out to range and fires as he does.
Come on, quit holding now. Quit holding, guys, come on.
Cuevas having no problem getting to where he wants to get this round, in close to the taller man.
Much better round here in round number 2 for Max Cuevas. More when we come back after this. Round 3, after a second round on Max Cuevas, the shorter man in the black trunks with the silver trim was more effective than he was in round number 1 against Fontaine Cabell. The body shots really telling the story of that second round. Teddy, you talk about him doing work when he gets to the inside. You see he was able to go to the body 14 times, landing 93%, only missed 1 body connect in that second round.
What might really tell the story is that Cuevas comes out this round turned as a southpaw. Maybe in his mind, he wasn't satisfied with what we thought was good work the last round. You never know what's going on in a fighter's mind versus what we're seeing. Maybe he thinks he needs to change things around. Otherwise, after a good round, why would he turn southpaw?
Indeed, 10 rounds. He has time to figure things out. May as well make your adjustments now and change. And from that southpaw stance, you see getting some work in with the left hand. Went to the body and then tried to fire off the straight left from that southpaw stance up top.
Well, there's definitely a advantage of surprise for Cuevas right now. Cabell came here to fight an orthodox fighter. Suddenly, he finds himself with a southpaw, having had no preparation.
Trying to fire downward as the head movement from Cuevas earns him the real estate on the inside and then lets the hands go.
Again, Cuevas having no problem getting to where he needs to be, which is in close with the taller Cabell. Some of that is because he's bringing his feet, he's working his way in, moving his head. Some of it is with a little help from Cabell giving up his height.
Clean break. Come on, let's fight. All right, guys, come on.
Again, Cuevas inside where he wants to be, but needs to be effective in there. Keep those hands free. Not allow clinches. Right now, doing a better job.
Good exchange here in the middle of the ring on the inside. The punch track headshots, new punch track system of ESPN, breaking it down between the head and the body. And that work from Cabell, the 191 thrown, majority of that coming from his jab.
Break. Stop holding. You keep him up. Let's go, fight.
Again, Cabell not doing a good job of using his natural asset of height.
No, fight's been fought on the inside for the past 2 rounds. Tries to drive home a right hand. Glances off the side.
2 things you would like to see from Cabell is 1, to stand on the outside, establish a distance with the jab, and the other is to try to make Cuevas pay a price.
Oh, that's a good left hand by Max Cuevas. So a strong finish to the end of round number 3. Fireworks here early on. And tonight in our main event, that's exactly what we're expecting. You can see Kermit Cintron with his team meditating, praying, preparing themselves for David Estrada. A year ago, he was just annihilated by pound-for-pound elite Antonio Margarito. Here's what he said about that experience.
I believe that the laws did me some good. You know, definitely got me hungrier, more motivated. I mean, now I know what it is to lose, and I don't like the feeling of it.
When he fought a real fighter, he got beat. You know, that's just the way it is. Tonight, he's gonna fight a real fighter. He's gonna get beat again.
That is coming up on our main event. Kermit Cintron, you see him wearing the traditional Kronk gym shirt. That's because he went up to Detroit, hired Manny Stewart as his trainer, and then went over to Europe, to Spain, where Manny was prepping Vladimir Klitschko for the heavyweight title fight this weekend, and spent a few weeks over there. So he's committed, new manager, new promoter, new trainer. And nothing new from Max Cuevas, picking up where he left off in round number 3, starting off strongly here in round number 4. Let's take a look at Teddy Atlas's scorecard. Cabell very effective, the 6'1" man in the silver trunks with blue trim in the first round, but then Cuevas starting to take over 2 rounds to 1 after 3 rounds.
Battle plans of these fighters is as simple as they can be. Cuevas, the shorter man, wants to get in close, has been able to get in close. Some of it is what you just saw in front of you. Some of it he works his way in, but some of it has been by Cabell giving up his height, falling in to the shorter man. And for Cabell, he wants to be on the outside. Hold those feet, don't fall in with them. Hold those feet, use that jab, establish a line of distance where you can keep the guy, in this case, Cuevas, on the outside at the end of his jabs, and then keep a distance where he can make Cuevas, like he's doing now, pay a price as he tries to get in.
Boy, really trying to line up that right uppercut. We've seen that fired off a few times tonight.
Look for that right uppercut, especially if Cabell starts to get a little desperate to come into use more and more. It's the power punch for Cabell. It's with his back foot where he can shift into it. And it can be a good punch with a shorter man coming at you, crouching a little bit. Pick up that man. Just ask George Foreman when he fought Joe Frazier. Again, Cuevas where he wants to be, but is he doing what he needs to do? Right in that spot, no. Not letting his hands go regular enough. You know, I always say it's no sense being tall if you don't fight tall. Cabell not fighting tall. No sense in being the shorter man who works his way in if you don't let those hands go when you get in.
And it's actually Cuevas who was being effective moments ago with the jab and then reaching that inside territory. And now Cabell trying to go to the body. 2-punch combination, and then Cuevas returns fire with a left to the body.
You know, for the taller man with the long arms, Cabell not doing a bad job working on the inside, shortening those punches up, but it's still not where he belongs. He belongs on the outside where he has an advantage with that height. It's okay for the taller man on the inside to tie up the shorter man, but Cuevas, I'm sure his corner is not happy seeing him allowing himself to be tied up.
See if Cuevas tries to finish strong again as we come to the end of round number 4, scheduled for 10. Back in 2002, and then had a 3-year gap. Teddy, he came across some real hard times. A father of 4 with a wife. They moved down here to Florida. Things went south. He ended up in a homeless shelter with his family. Stumbled across his current manager, a guy who believed in him, gave him a job with a concrete company. He worked hard. He provided for his family. That same man who gave him the job for the concrete company said, I'm going to sponsor you. You're going to be a full-time fighter and commit to doing what you love best. And now he's back on track with his family life and obviously showing good responsibility and dedication with what we see here in the ring tonight.
That shows you, that story tells you 2 things. One, as we talked about before, that boxing can save a young man in every dimension of life. As a person, and obviously socially being able to lift himself up. But it also shows you that people, in this case a manager, in boxing sometimes get a bad reputation. They have a lot of heart. They look out for people. There's plenty of good people in boxing.
Such is the case with Max Cuevas. Here we are, round number 5 against Fontaine Cabell. Cabell, the taller man with the blue trim and the silver trunks. And he's behind on Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 3 rounds to 1. Opened up well in that first round, utilizing the jab, but then giving up distance. And Cabell watching Cuevas work on the inside, go to the body, and be more effective.
Well, Cuevas trying to throw that monkey wrench into the works again of Cabell by switching southpaw this round, trying to catch him by surprise with some shots from a different angle. Shots that Cabell did not prepare for, Joe.
He did it in the second round also and did it effectively. So we go back to what Cuevas told us his strategy would be. And that first thing he said is, I'm going to fight smart. I'm going to fight tactical. He's done that so far. Here's a body shot from that southpaw stance, a straight left to the body.
You could criticize both guys a little bit, showing a lot of heart, but you could criticize them a little bit as far as not using their strengths enough. The strength would be for Cabell to fight on the outside and for Cuevas to do a little bit more when he gets inside, not allow himself to do that, to get tied up, to get smothered. I think there's great opportunities for Cuevas when he does get in. Again, there's no problem Cuevas getting in so far. He hasn't paid a price to get in. There he gets hit a right hand when there's a little space. He's been able to get in either by Cabell coming to him or him working his way in. I think there's a great opportunity when he's in close, Joe, for Cuevas to force the taller Cabell out. Force him to get really tall and then catch him as he steps out.
Moments ago, it was a right hand that you noted as Cuevas stepped out just a touch after getting on the inside. Cabell was able to land.
You know, right now, 75% of this game we talk about is mental. Right now, mentally, Cabell probably a little thrown off by Cuevas coming out southpaw. What he should attach to, and maybe his corner should attach to and tell him, is start chucking right hands. Because, yeah, you have a southpaw in front of you. You didn't prepare for it, but right hands work with southpaw. Start letting him go.
Pretty simple strategy, the southpaw killer, the straight right hand. Let's see if he stays southpaw when we come back for the 6th round.
Here's to men, to guys who want to take longer drives with fewer pit stops, to guys who want to spend less time in the men's room and more time fishing. And here's to Flomax. It's approved to treat male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. In 1 week, Flomax may help symptoms like going often, going urgently, weak stream, frequently waking up at night to go. For you, Flomax could make a difference in 1 week. Ask your doctor if...
Teddy Atlas with you, a fairly entertaining welterweight 10-rounder to open things up here tonight. Max Cuevas and Fontaine Cabell. Cabell 6'1". He's in the silver and blue. Cuevas has been getting to the inside. Originally, both men from New York, now living in Florida. Let's take a look at Teddy's scorecard. 49-46. Cuevas able to take control of this in the 2nd round. And the punches in round number 5, they both came off the gas pedal just a touch, and the percentage low for Cabell, landing only 15%.
Cuevas starting to get control of this fight, at least on our scorecard. Cabell may need to use power to turn it around. But the one good thing when you look at a guy who's tall and wiry like Cabell, usually they can generate power. they usually can get good leverage. In this case, Cabell would be looking for that leverage in the right hand.
Cuevas back to the orthodox stance here in round number 6. He went southpaw in the 2nd round, back to the orthodox stance in the 3rd, and then southpaw again in the 5th, and back to that natural right-handed stance here in the 6th. So switching things up, keeping his opponent off his toes, just when you think, okay, now maybe, Teddy, they get a chance to talk things over in the corner, go to the straight right hand. Oh, that's out the window again.
Cuevas is being like El Duque, the old Yankee pitcher from Cuba, switching his delivery from overhand to sidearm to a little lower, trying to keep the hitters off stride. In this case, the hitter is Cabell.
I guess the only difference would be that I can actually tell you that Cuevas is indeed 30 years old.
That's true. Nobody knows how old El Duque is.
Punch track. These are the body shots here, the total body shots. And you see the work that the shorter man Cuevas has been able to do, getting into that real estate, real high percentage. But Teddy, the high percentage, 70% of his body shots landed, that correlates to what you talk about the taller frame, the 6'1" welterweight. It's a big, easy target to hit.
And once you get inside, it's not only a big target, but it's a slender target, a target that you have hope of doing damage to. And the upstairs is there.
That's a theme that'll ring true in our much anticipated main event tonight. Kermit Cintrone, the tall, power-punching welterweight, taking on David Estrada. Just a year ago, they were fighting on ESPN pay-per-view under the bright lights of Vegas. A lot of money and fame and boxing fortune on the line. Now, one of these two welterweights will get the chance to move forward as they square off against each other. That's still to come.
Again, Cuevas being allowed to get inside. Not always keeping those hands, as you can see right now, moving as he should.
Crowd getting behind it. Things heat up and there's Cuevas.
There's what we talked about. When you get in with the taller men and you force them out, there's a lot of target to catch. And Cuevas caught that target, Joe.
Well, he's had a habit of turning things on in the final 5 seconds of these rounds, and he did it again to perfection here in the 6th round as he had Cabell hurt.
We were talking about it earlier, that if Cuevas continues to get inside, his strategy should be to force Cabell out and then catch Cabell as he pulls out with that tall target. And you're going to get a peek of it right now. Again, Cuevas gets inside, forces Cabell out with his chin up and his hands down, and hits him on the chin with a left hook.
Big left hook, scoring well here in the 6th round. Teddy saw it coming, and it came right here.
Again, he gets underneath. Defense started it. Good technique. Got underneath the punches, got inside, and then was able to time Cabell as he pulled out wide open.
Pulled out wide open and was kind of turned to the side, so he also didn't have his feet solidly underneath him. I mean, just a worse case of a defensive situation for Fontaine Cabell. Teddy, how do you like his legs here early on in this 7th round?
A little unsteady, and you would expect Cuevas to have gotten information given to him and a little motivation by his corner saying, we don't think he had time to recover. Go out and test him early on.
So Max Cuevas digging in here, and now you can see Cabell hanging on here at the 2.5-minute mark. He was very upset about a controversial loss he had in his last fight. 7 wins, only 3 knockouts so far in his career. He said, I'm gonna be smart tonight. I'm gonna try to be aggressive when I need to be. He has fought smart, and he was real aggressive at the end of that 6th round. The perfect opportunity.
At this point, we know that Cabell is not going to fight tall. He's going to have to concentrate on that maybe the next time he gets in the ring. He's not going to use his jab. He's not going to establish distance on the outside. He needs to find something if he wants to do more than hold on for the rest of this fight, if he wants to try to find a way to win. He needs to concentrate, I think, on one punch, maybe a right uppercut, try to nail Cuevas as he's coming in. Maybe take advantage of the confidence of Cuevas as he's walking right in, figuring that Cabell is ready to be had.
Another left hand. Tries to fire off the uppercut that time on the inside.
Now, Joe, we know that Cabell should not allow Cuevas to get inside, but he's allowing him throughout the night to get inside. What he should really not do now is pull out. Stay in there till the referee does that. Hold on, go around his man, but do not pull out. If he pulls out, he will leave himself open the way he did the last round.
Yeah, and he got tagged by that left hook at the end of the last round. At this point, yes, survival mode a bit, Teddy.
You could see Cabell has that in his mind. He's trying not to pull out. Even though he's taking a lot of body shots, he's trying not to pull out. Give him credit. He understands that the last time he pulled out, he paid a big price.
Stinging jab now by Cuevas. The shorter man able to do damage with the left hand here.
You know, when you get inside and you're the taller man and you tie somebody up the way Cabell was trying to tie up Cuevas, you need to lock him down. Cabell has not done a good job of that. Look, he's looking to tie up, but he's allowing Cuevas to keep his hands free where he can continue to work that rib cage. You're going to tie someone up, tie him up. Make sure their hands are not free. Make sure they cannot let those hands go. Again, the only chance maybe now for Cabell is to nail Cuevas with a right hand as he comes in.
Well, and you talked about it with that frame, the long, wiry frame, always capable. 3 rounds to go between Cabell and Cuevas, and coming up immediately following it will be our main event, the welterweight showdown. Kermit Cintron taking on this guy, the always tough and determined David Estrada. A year removed from his fight against Sugar Shane Mosley. Now he squares off against Cintron, and he's telling him exactly what he's going to do to him.
He's going to run from me, and he's not going to be able to run for 12 rounds, so I'm going to catch him sooner or later, or he's going to stand and fight like a man. And when he does, that's going to be his mistake.
If anything, when he feels my power, my punch, he's the one that's going to run, not me.
David Estrada making his final preparations. This is a gutsy kid. And I think the conventional wisdom for most people that are looking towards this Estrada versus Cintron fight is that Cintron, maybe some better hand speed, better power, the better natural athlete, but Estrada isn't going anywhere. He's going to be there all night long. He's the kind of guy that just breaks you down and breaks your will.
That's what he's going to try to do. And in his mind, he thinks he saw that when Cintron was in the ring with Margarita, so he's going to try to repeat that kind of landscape. I think the danger zone, and there's a danger zone for Estrada. It's going to be the first 4 rounds with the power punching Cintron.
Should be a sensational main event. Right now, we are in round number 8 as Max Cuevas well ahead on Teddy's scorecard, 69-64. He landed a huge left hook at the end of the 6th round that had Cabell just trying to survive the 7th round. The average punches landed first 4 rounds. You see it was a fairly even fight. The last 3 rounds, Max Cuevas has just taken over.
Joe, don't turn the lights out yet on Cabell. He's looking to throw that right hand. He's starting to throw it. Let it go at the beginning of this round at the right distance, and he's coming very close to landing it. And there's that right uppercut. He has 2 choices now to pull this fight out of the fire. Does Cabell. One is the straight right hand at the right distance. The other is the right uppercut.
Hey, listen, I don't doubt him all. He's a 6'1" welterweight with a good wiry frame and 16 knockouts among his 21 wins. And obviously, you would have to think that the advice he's getting in the corner right now is just that. Utilize those power punches. It's the only way you can win this fight. And he gives you the sense right there that maybe that's the case. Tries to drive down a right hand.
Well, my hat is off to both fighters. They fought a solid fight, shown plenty of heart, but my hat is really off to Cabell. Way behind on our scorecards in this fight, and he comes out here late in the night in the 8th round, and he's trying to turn it around, showing no sense of giving in.
And giving our fans a lot to watch for here. Still a lot to be determined.
You can see Cabell. I gotta give him credit. He knows he has to land the right hand, and he knows it can be either right uppercut as the shorter man forces his way in, or a straight right hand. And there's a little bit of a change going on here. Cuevas no longer coming in, staying outside in some ways, setting up the landscape. Oh, there he lands a good shot.
But then all of a sudden, Cuevas lands a right hand of his own, and it's Cabell trying to hold on, looking for something to grab on Cuevas. And look at Cuevas just letting the hands go, and now he complains to Marco Lopez. And that's it. That is it. He looked over to Lopez as if to say, this guy's holding on to me. It's the only reason he's standing. I thought maybe Cabell figured at least I'll get a break by the referee. No, he got a stoppage from the referee.
And you know, the first 3 quarters of that round was Cabell. And Cuevas giving him distance, not coming in, giving him distance, maybe giving Cabell a false sense that Cuevas was taking a break. And Cabell let up a little bit. All of a sudden, Cuevas came in, closed the gap, and caught the tall Cabell standing straight up with his hands down and his chin exposed.
So let's take a look as to how Max Cuevas was able to finish it off. Teddy, take us through it.
Well, the first part of the round, nothing happening from Cuevas. Cabell maybe gets a little loose, pulls back with his left hand down, as we just said, and allows Cuevas to come in that front door with a big right hand right on the exposed chin of Cabell. Cabell doing his best to stay close, not give Cuevas room, smother him, survive, hold on, and then the referee steps in, decides to flag it off. One more look, the right hand off with that outreach left hand. You must cover with your left hand. The taller Cabell went back with the left hand down, chin up, and then once Cuevas hurt him, he knew what to do. Stay right on his man, keep his hands moving, keep his feet moving where he was trying to keep Cabell from smothering him. Finally, the ropes forced him to stop, but the referee said, I don't think Cabell is in good enough shape to finish.
For the official particulars, let's send it up to the ring to David Contreras.
Ladies and gentlemen, in 2 minutes and 35 seconds of round number 8, the winner is,
All right, listen, we'll take it over for David Contreras. The winner at 2:38 was Max Cuevas. Max Cuevas, a very impressive win. We told you the story 2.5 years ago. He had hard times. The wife and 4 kids were in a homeless shelter here in Florida, but he turned his life around, got a job in concrete.